so glad that you are here today. This is our last community meeting of 2017 school year. And what we always try to do at the end of the school year is make sure that you're aware of any updates that are occurring over the summer months, any big previews coming into the next year. And this meeting's theme really is encapsulated by my picture right here. If you take a moment and just think about what an image like that means to you. For me, I was looking for something that showed the journey that we're on as an LDC community. Since the early grants in 2009 and 10, LDC has really evolved. Many of you were involved in early grant-funded projects where you were field testing a set of resources. You were trying to see if the templates worked. You were maybe making a module, or you were part of a 1 or 2 year grant. And you know what happened? I think somebody needs to mute. Is that people knew that they were onto something good. But there was a lot of work to do to take that good idea and to really help it become a sustainable system that schools can implement and that we can implement all over the country. So we've grown up quite a lot. And the updates you're going to hear today, I think, show how LDC has evolved and will be able to support you better in new ways in the upcoming year. There will be kind of a few key points. I want to recap where we began at the beginning of the year with this notion of LDC as a curriculum alignment system. We're going to talk then, based on that point of view and perspective, how are our product updates shaping up and what you can expect to see, and what does that mean for quality assurance for our peer review systems, because we know that there's a lot of professional development, but unless we have evidence and are working to improve our work in concrete ways, that it really doesn't make a difference for classrooms. And then finally, we just have some great resources and events coming up that we want to share with you. So again, my theme for today really is LDC. We've come a long way, baby, and we're going to keep on growing. I'd like to start first with this notion of curriculum alignment system, and a number of people on the call have seen or heard this, but there are a number of people on this call who haven't. Initially, when people were exposed to LDC, they were really focused on the tools or the resources to enact the shifts in the new standards. And what we quickly realized was that, if LDC is in a silo on its own, it's really not sustainable and really not doing what we want it to do. And so over the last few years, LDC has really evolved into more of a curriculum alignment system. Our goal is that we really want to work off of the premise that task predicts performance to change instruction across the country. And our premise is that we need to provide higher level content, but at the same time, we have to improve teacher skill to help students access that content in meaningful ways, that we need to be able to have impact on all three sides of that triangle, or else what we'll have is hard content and student failure, or we'll take rigorous standards and do it in ways that don't engage students in active learning. And again, as you look across the foundation of that, we know we have to support teachers in being able to do this work, more rigorous, relevant work for students in engaging ways. So our goal is really to make that happen. In the long run, LDC isn't really so much about LDC. It's about improving access to opportunities for kids. It's about standards-based instruction. The other thing that's really important is that LDC isn't a solo act, that teachers are engaging in this work collaboratively in single schools, in districts, in networks. One great example of that right now is the networks that are being built digitally in Colorado, in Kentucky and Pennsylvania. Kentucky and Pennsylvania, between them, have almost 100 LDC coach candidates who are meeting online together and separately, and working to really increase access to expertise across their state. We also have a number of other partners, thought partners, people who are doing the work and rolling up their sleeves, like Battelle, who did the work in STEM and created resources that the whole country could use that we did in schools, and many other folks. LDC, SREB, who is working in multiple states through their model. So when I think about LDC, we have this theory of action, and we're doing the work collaboratively. We know that working in silos means that the work is harder and that there's a lot of redundancy. The other thing that's really central to this system is this idea that we are having a common language for improving instructional practice, and that we are building local experts who are normed and synced up with a national community. I don't know about you, but I don't want to have impact here and there. I want to lift the system. And that's really how we're really trying to go from rhetoric on that to reality. One of the things that's bedrock for that for us is the notion of standards-driven teacher competencies, that LDC teachers are developing specific skills. LDC coaches are doing the same thing. Those skills really transcend LDC. They align with systems like Danielson, national board propositions. And we're really looking at the competencies of being able to analyze assignments, being able to construct quality prompts. Teachers are developing lessons every day. The lessons you learn when you create a strong vetted LDC task should be applied to lesson design and unit design. You should then, we want teachers to strengthen their ability to develop a quality instructional plan, one that's driven by skills, enacted by mini tasks, rather than a set of random activities. And we want to get better at the work. We want to do this through iterative cycles where you think about the results of your work, you use the student results to improve the teacher plans for the next time and to plan forward so that we get better and better as a system. It's really a set of skills, too, that helps us target professional development. What we tend to do, despite our best efforts, is expect teachers to get good at everything at once, and then we wonder why they don't. So the teacher competencies help us target and create a spiral plan for professional development. Many schools and districts have found, in reflecting on the shifts with the Common Core, that they jumped in very quickly on two, constructing things, without really thinking about one. And a lot of folks are going back and doing some work. Those of you who have attended our Coach Institutes know that we go back and we're really looking at alignment between standards and assignments, evidence of alignment and standards thinking and student work. So this ability to be a good consumer of assignments that you see, to critically analyze them, is really an important step that we think that in the last few years in enacting the shifts, we're seeing that it needs more work. So when we think about this work, LDC as a curriculum alignment system, we're thinking about positioning ourselves around this big idea of task predicts performance. We're grounding ourselves in concrete teacher competencies that we use in our professional development, in our coach development, in thinking about what is the most important work that we can be doing. And our theory of action really is backwards design. Now, the module is backwards design, but so is building a system. So when we think about trying to impact students, we're really focused on impacting teachers and making a big bet that our work with coaches and coach development will support teachers and administrators on both sides of the pipeline. We're pretty excited, too, about the leader tools that we've been developing and field testing that are going to be more widely available soon. When you think about, what are those big ideas, those nice graphics mean in terms of the context of a school, I'd like to just give you a quick picture of what using LDC as a curriculum alignment system might look like. Here's an anonymous model site taken from many real stories We'll call it Lincoln School District. I'm starting at the school district level because we know that one gung-ho principal or one gung-ho curriculum director can make a difference. But what we really want is to get that alignment across the system. So starting with the leadership team, this leadership team is saying, hey, you know what, we have all these mandates. First, it was No Child Left Behind. Now we're trying to get standards aligned curriculum, but we don't really know how to do it. What they did was began with our work that you'll see on problems of practice. They thought about what are the top challenges we're facing, what's giving us heartburn that we need to work on. One or two things right now. And how could LDC help us do that? One of the things we're hearing a lot about is systems alignment, that folks have purchased a lot of programs to enact standards. The programs are not aligned, they're of varying rigor, and they're really seeing the gap. So where could LDC help pull curriculum together? And in some places, up the rigor. The other place we're seeing a lot of conversation happening about is, hey, we've gotten collaborative planning time, but are we getting our bang for our buck out of that? So how could we really form professional learning communities to align our curriculum or to get consistency instruction? So you can kind of see how this, starting with a problem of practice rather than, hey, let's make modules, changes the conversation for schools. So what this leadership team did was thought again, what are our biggest goals? And then given those biggest goals, what are the first priority skills for teachers? A lot of folks are really concentrating on recognizing a focus set of shorter long-term student goals in an assignment. That idea of being able to align and analyze, and then to select shorter long-term goals as they begin to think about constructing a prompt. From that then, the school district said, hey, we're not going to go off willy-nilly here, everybody in their corners, with random acts of mini tasks or whatever, because that's a good lesson here or there, but that's not going to give us a real difference. So what that school district did then was took stock of what they had and used one of LDC's curriculum maps to get some alignment from the start around professional learning and what was going to be designed or adapted from the LDC library. The school developed a plan that was going to help guarantee rigor for kids. They used existing curriculum. They developed centrally or in some cases locally in schools. And what they did then was did some designing curriculum and some adapting it. Teachers taught that curriculum in many cases in a common use way. Many of you are familiar and have experience with common assignments, but this idea that the same capstone assignment can guarantee equity across kids. This is going to be our 9th grade social studies assignment, and then when we come together for professional learning, we're able to share strategies, share language, talk about our student results, and this is really going to drive our work. What the Washington leadership team did to make this all happen was developed a year-long work plan, identified who was going to be site leads in buildings, who was going to be the coaching the project so that teachers got support. We know it's so important that if there are demands, there's support. And then they used they protected time so the work could actually happen. They used LDC's Teacher Learning Kit, available through the Learn tab, so online professional learning, and real-time data analytics. So they could look at how teachers were doing the work, the feedback they were receiving, and how that work was moving towards quality. They used the courses, real-time and virtual coaching. You can see the teacher there having a conversation in the comment bubbles with her coach to do the work. They looked at student work. And they looked at their data. As we can see the blue dots as teacher actions, revising, editing, linking standards. We can see the yellow diamonds as the feedback teachers are getting. So you're seeing the iterative cycle in your data that you can see. So teacher work, feedback, teacher work, feedback. We see badges being earned as teachers are getting curriculum vetted so that everyone in the school district or country could be using those phenomenal assignments. And you can see evidence that the teacher planning met students, right? Because the red triangles are student work. So when we think about this all together, how could this not result in adult outcomes and student outcomes? And we're seeing it all over the country, that using LDC is a big catalyst for student achievement. When we're increasing the quality, the assignments students are experiencing, we're doing it in a systematic way so many more students are getting good assignments. We're looking at the results of those assignments. Kids are writing in response to reading more often, and the system is working together. That's exciting. To keep this work moving forward, Washington leadership team is building on that. They're really being hawks around protecting time, making sure that central and building level leadership are aligned. They're looking at how to incentivize teachers, whether it's a stipend, a planning period, protecting time, so the teachers can do the work we're asking them to do. We're making sure that they have access to job-embedded PD, and that's really what we're about. And they're making sure that if you're coaching LDC, that you also have earned your creds. If you're coaching LDC, you should be able to show that you're good at LDC, that you have evidence-based artifacts, that you can give teachers feedback that really helps them in their work. They're setting short and long-term goals and deliverables. And they're celebrating, like many, we're hearing, demo days breaking out all over the country and showcases. My goodness, SREB just did 4 in the last month, where teachers could and administrators could open classroom doors, learn and talk together. And they're being very artful about funding. They're looking at their Title II-D money. They are looking at local budgets for professional learning. They're looking at grants. They're looking at ESSA to make the work happen. What I've just tried to do for you is to give you a little bit more than an elevator speech about how to position LDC as a curriculum alignment system, and for you to hear how we as a national organization and a national community are thinking about the work. That vision influences, of course, what we make, what we produce, what we put in the blog, what we share with you, and how we support you. I'd like you to just take a moment or two. I'd like to open it up to conversation for you to talk about your response to LDC as a curriculum alignment system. Is this how you're thinking of it? What did you hear that you could carry forward? What questions do you have? Feel free to take the mic, and let's take a minute or two and put some comments in the chat.
Barb, I'm wondering if you can, I came into the slideshow when you were on the teacher competency slide. How many slides did I miss?
I'm not sure about that, Cosby. I think maybe 2 or 3 of that, and I'll have the recording for you. So the first couple minutes of the recording, you'll be able to catch that. Good to hear your voice, though. Okay, my friends, taking a look at what's starting to pop up in the chat, and what I'd like to do is to transition us to, so given that this is how we're thinking about LDC, what does that mean about, hey, why did we decide to make starter task? We talked about that last time. Or why do we update the rubrics? And how are we thinking about our products? Even the word product is kind of interesting. For us, about 2 years ago, we began our journey with our first Moodle courses and have really grown since then. Our theory of action is really to support teachers in professional learning while they're doing their work. So as you listen to the product updates, what you're really going to see with the Teacher Learning Kit is that everything is embedded in core tools to make it a real seamless system, rather than having folks feel like professional development is something separate from what they do every day. Our product strategy also has evolved in our work with the Gates Foundation, that we are doing some direct marketing to schools and districts, as well as working through LDC's partners who have chosen to be providers. And those providers like SREB, Generation Ready, American Reading Company, Pivot, have committed to quality standards for coaches and are selling the product as part of their services to schools. Our point of this as a nonprofit isn't so much about dollars, it's really about sustainability for the organization so that all these resources continue to be available, but also about providing quality professional learning in a way that there's a core set of quality resources, there's a core set of data analytics, so that there's not such a great variance in quality around the country. I'm going to turn it over to Danielle to give us a snapshot as to what's new this year. And these are updates from June of last year when we unveiled the Teacher Learning Kit and Coach Certification for the first time.
Are you able to see my screen now?
We sure can.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. It gave me an error message for just a second. So as Barb was explaining, what's really, really exciting about when we say that LDC is evolved is, you know, we've evolved because we are getting that information from the teachers, the coaches, the leaders out in the field doing the work. You know, it's been really great to see how LDC has evolved based on what we've learned from what you guys are doing out in the field. And so, as Barb had mentioned also, it's just really great to think about how our curriculum alignment system is really providing that work embedded while the teacher is doing their work, their ability to create quality assignments and have that equity for all students. So I really love this quote that was provided by a recent LDC teacher practitioner about just, you know, having the confidence to be able to develop the quality assignments because of their ability to have access to quality content while they work, and also the ability to return back to it as needed to continue to improve their own learning and their assignments. So one of the key product updates that we have is related to our Teacher Learning Kit. The Teacher Learning Kit really does provide a student or a school with everything you need to have a strong competency-based professional learning system. So when we think about the Teacher Learning Kit, as we were talking earlier, based on what we've heard from the field, from coaches and leaders and principals, we really want to make sure that you guys have really great implementation resources to help leaders and coaches really kick off the professional learning on the right foot at the beginning of an implementation, and really help support in sustaining that work over the course of the year and into subsequent years. The access to data analytics, real-time data analytics, also helps those leaders and coaches really progress, watch, you know, and monitor progress throughout the year, and to keep things on track. We are constantly improving data analytics based on what we're hearing from the field and what's really showing in terms of the work that's going on in your school. We're constantly trying to improve that so that it really is, you know, real-time, applicable data to help know how your implementation is doing and how it's going in your school district. And then just, again, the access to the really great quality work embedded online course content. So not to get too much in the weeds, but we do have 2 different levels of courses that we're going to be debuting in June. Many of you are familiar with our full competency-based level 2 courses, our construct a task, develop a plan, and assess student learning. But as I stated, we're really evolving based on what we've heard out in the field. And so what we're doing for our June release is providing new level 1 courses that are really geared to the actual work that people are doing in their implementations. So when we think about our level 1 courses, we're really looking at our instructional cycles. We typically typically teachers are wanting to teach 2 to 3 modules a year. And so we wanted to be able to support that type of implementation utilizing online course content in a scaffolded manner. So we're really excited. We have 3 new courses that we're going to be opening as level 1 courses. We have a Find and Teach course, which is a really great course, really quick course for teachers to really go grab an existing module and really engage students early on in the year so they can analyze results without having to spend too much time in designing their own work. We also do have 2 new courses that are geared around either the designing individual assignments. So if you're designing your own modules to teach in your classroom over the course of the year, we have a Design LDC Assignments course. And then we also are really excited to offer a Common Use course. So if you're working with a group of teachers and you all will be implementing the same module at the same time, maybe it's over a specific subject area or a specific grade band, we have a really great Common Use course. What's really great about these level 1 courses is that it is geared towards, again, the instructional cycles. So as teachers are going through the course of the year, teaching multiple modules, we're really walking through that progression over the year. What we've really done is we've taken these courses and we've really identified the scaffolding needed. So teachers are continually progressing their learning over the course of the year and having the different competency focuses change for each cycle, allowing teachers to really build on the previous skills that they've learned by implementing LDC modules. We've also improved the structure based on what teachers have stated and coaches have stated is, we really need that work embedded shorter sessions that can be completed during the day or during PLC time. So many of our cycles, you'll see in our sessions, they're geared for a 30 to 45 minute time frame so that it fits within, a PLC time to work with teachers. So really quickly, as I mentioned, I do want to show the table of contents of one particular course, the design course, to show you how we are thinking about scaffolding the learning for teachers across the school year. So when we're thinking about 3 instructional cycles, we're thinking about how are we teaching 3 modules over the course of the year. The first module that they're going to implement and go through the courses are following a module 1. And so the first instructional cycle is really focusing on standards in the task. So really task-focused competencies around 1A and 2A specifically. Then in their second instructional cycle, after they've analyzed student work and learned from how it went in the classroom, instructional cycle 2 really focuses on the skills list. So really thinking about 3A competency. And then the third instructional cycle, that third module that they teach, again, after analyzing student work, seeing growth and progress, instructional cycle 3 really builds upon the teacher's understanding and is really focused around the instructional sequence or mini tasks, so around 3B. So you'll have access to this table of contents for both courses so that you can see how each of the instructional cycles are broken down and the topics of each of those sessions. Each module instructional cycle has 10 sessions. So you'll see that, for example, in Module 1, we said that the standards-driven task is really the focus, or 1A and 2A. You'll see that the majority of the sessions are really about the task. So sessions 1 through 6 are really focusing around quality standards-driven task in your instruction. And then in Module 2, as we're getting the standards-driven skills list focus, you'll see that much more of the lesson is around the skills list alignment and really thinking about your skills list. And then the same with the Module 3. So I'm really excited about these. I think they're going to be really, really beneficial for, as a teacher, thinking about how these can fit in a PLC versus, spending, outside time, working on these courses in addition. And I can't emphasize enough that the fact is I'm doing the work of my building of my module while I'm consuming this content. So that's another huge, huge component that's really, really great. So I do want to show you a little bit, because I'm so excited about it, in terms of we're getting ready to release it. But as it won't say internal when it's open, but if we open up the design course, you'll see again the 3-module structure for the full course. Over the course of the year, they would, go through 3 module cycles. So if I open up Module 1, you'll see that there are those 10 sessions, as I've outlined before, many of them focusing on the task, 1A and 2A. So if I enter in one of the sessions, what's really great is that we've now have great content for teachers to review. We have images, videos to watch. The other great thing that we've done in terms of, we've really tried to listen to coaches in how do I utilize the online courses. We've incorporated a right column for coaches and school leads. If a teacher is going to be leading a PLC while their coach is out, we've provided coaching tips and facilitation tips so that people can use these tips to help support them as they're implementing these courses in their PLCs and with teachers. Another great thing that we've done to improve based on feedback is embedded the exercises, those check for understandings within the work. So I'm answering those check understanding questions while I'm learning the content, and then really emphasizing action items in the course content related to the work embedded work that I'm doing on my actual module in this course. So you'll see the course content, and you'll see an exercise, as I mentioned, that embedded assessment where I can literally take it as I go, I submit, I get it correct, and I see my status here that I've got that correct and I'm moving on. And then also, again, based on the action items where I'm actually doing the work of my module development while it's here. So pulling up a sidebar, being able to open up and actually be able to make a copy, and begin to do my work while I'm still in the course content. So I can navigate to different examples, all while my course content is still present.
Like, take a moment and just stop and look at that, folks. I mean, I think Cosby, when I think about like 2012, when we had like 5-pound binders, and you were trying to explain to people how to do this work. Everything in one place, look across the top panel. I'm learning in the place where I'm seeing examples in my library. I'm building my own. My resources are here instead of out on the website. My peer review work is here. My analytics are here. I can work, and at the same time, all my directions are here. Think about what a support that is for teachers. This is enabled virtual coaching. It's like, I just like to stand back and look at this sometimes and just think about how far we've come.
And what I really love about this is I can keep coming back to this session as many times as I need in order to, re-engage with the content as needed. I may need to look at additional examples. I may want to pull up, certain content that I can apply to the work that I'm doing. And then again, when I've completed the work, I can go back to the course and continue my learning as I'm doing. And so it continues to work through that progression. So the great thing, as I mentioned, you do have the table of contents linked on the PowerPoint presentation that will give you a breakdown of each session and over the course, and show the scaffolding of the competency change shifts as they move through. And then again, we're really excited as we are continuing to revise, update, and make the data analytics really, really be useful, and to really show what is actually occurring in your implementation so that you can keep it on course and keep it successful. So I'm going to pause there before I turn it back over to Barb, and just see if there are any questions, comments, or anything anyone would like me to show them before we move on to the next product. Exciting.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sherry.
I just want to comment, because this is actually, I mean, I know I've heard bits and pieces of how this was coming and what was coming, but this is in direct response to where we are. But I think it actually, I see different people in the chat are in, like I'm in a large district, there are people in very small rural districts. But what I'm seeing about this is you've just created where we are as a problem in practice in spread, because we have people at all different levels of understanding.
Yes.
And you've now just created basically the asks for each of those levels. For me, it's differentiation for grown-ups. That's beautiful.
And you're going to be able to assign the people you want to find and teach, and you're going to be able to assign the people you want to. Maybe you have a group of people who are designing for your curriculum maps, and you're going to be able to assign the people that you want to the common use course, because maybe they're field testing what the design group did. So think about how. Well, I know.
So when is this being unveiled?
June. So that does bring up, again, we will have the design course and the common use course. And as I mentioned, that find and teach course, which is a really, really brief. I did want to show the structure because it is a little bit different. It's a little bit shorter. Again, there's only 5 sessions, because it's really getting the teacher to find that module, teach it in the classroom, and get those student results, so that they're seeing the impact of what quality assignments can really do for their students. And again, going back to equity, being able to provide quality assignments to all students by getting them started right at the beginning of the year. So you'll see that these sessions are really decide when you want to teach the module, go grab an LDC module to teach, go teach it, and then assess the student work. So very, very short, quick introduction to really get teachers' feet wet. And we've heard from the field that this is something that has been really highly sought after for a while. So we wanted to make sure to provide a very quick, easy course that people could really get to know the platform, get to know how to use the LDC library to find great resources, and again, ultimately getting those quality assignments out to their students. Okay. Well, I will stop sharing my screen unless there are any comments or questions. Oops. And I'll turn it back over to Barb.
Okay, let me just double check to make sure that I'm sharing my screen now. We're doing a little passing back and forth today, which is also a great way for you to see this, the passion and expertise of this phenomenal team. You can talk to any of us at any time. I'm sure there's some things here that some of you might want to follow up on. Again, we wanted to say thank you for helping us learn and learning with us. It's really neat to see on this call so many people who use the very first Moodle courses, then version 2.0 first in the learn, in first go round in the Learn tab, and now what we're going to have beginning early in June. The other thing that's really continued to evolve is the coach certification kit. And this really arose from early conversations back in 2013 with all of the major partner organizations around how can we talk about guarantees for students. How do we make guarantees for teachers in the professional learning they're receiving and for school districts in professional learning? And we've made some big bets around how doing competency-based work and creating a coach certification pathway could change teacher practice, because those coaches will be working with hordes and hordes of teachers and being able to support each other. So we looked at that again as a way where we could have great impact. That from the earliest coach institutes where we did in-person work, we developed all kinds of PD resources for coaches and began to put together professional development opportunities for coaches. This really developed into an LDC credentialing program nationally. As the national organization, we certify coaches and endorse professional development providers. What it's really about for us is about helping us all be calibrated to having a shared language around and share beliefs around what good LDC is and how using LDC could lift systems. This coach progression, we've had it validated by our partners, and we're learning from you and what works. It really mirrors our theory of action that coaches are just an important lever in that backwards design process. And it's an evidence-based process. Coaches are earning badges. Everything about LDC is an artifact-based system. So we're asking coaches to become rated task and ladder authors. That's saying that, hey, I understand LDC principles and can apply them. There are a number of people on this call who are rated task authors. I know that I can show 3 religions as a great example. And know where that came from and believe that that coach has so much credibility because of that resource. We provide supports and professional learning to support people in earning those badges. The next step is then, hey, I'm trained to review other people's tasks, and I'm calibrated then through earning calibration points that I can give. I'm calibrated to national norms when I give feedback, and when I say that this task is aligned to standards, you know what? My colleagues across the line there in Mississippi and Kentucky and Florida are going to say the same thing. Upon completion of those first badges, task and ladder author, the review badges, people are recognized as a certified LDC coach. And then after having 5 teachers that you work with also have rated tasks or ladders, that shows that you are impacting the teacher work of others. It shows that your coaching is taking effect. You receive an expert LDC coach badge. In our product strategy, coach certification is offered as a 2-year license. The coaches receive access to a number of resources, all of the courses. They're enrolled in a pathway of professional learning that is mostly virtual, other than peer review. They receive data and reporting and ongoing professional learning. We're really excited. I think I should have looked up the numbers before we started talking today, but about 150 by now. A coach's journey really stretches probably over 12 to 14 months, and we present people with a syllabus. So we have a coach cohort starting in June. They'll take blended foundations, submit their tasks to hopefully become good to go, and then engage in professional learning in the fall semester. The whole point of this work with coach certification is to articulate a stance around learning by doing, around what quality coaching is, that we can show that we can do the work ourselves, and we can show that we are having impact on teachers. And then as an LDC organization, to provide all the supports and resources to help people get there. The next phase of what we're really working on are updates to our quality assurance system. Peer review is part of everything we do because it's that idea of giving feedback and rate and being able to calibrate in what good is. Because all of the work we do ultimately is on the student's desk. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, who's going to share the updates that are happening with peer review and help you see what's on tap for next year.
Thanks, Barb. All right. One more Zoom shuffle. Maybe not one more, but I'm going to share my screen.
I'm getting everybody on today.
Yes. And like Barb was saying, there are a lot of ways in which peer review is a cornerstone of all of this work. And so we want to share some ways that we're growing in that area as well. I'm going to talk about 4 things briefly today. I'm going to talk about updates to the curriculum alignment rubric itself, updates to our calibration system, some changes to our submission cycles for national peer review, and then finally the formation of the LDC peer review national faculty. So I'm just going to jump right in because I know I only have limited time. We're very excited to announce that coming to Core Tools in June will be an updated 2017-2018 curriculum alignment rubric. As always, this was developed in collaboration with Scale. And once you see it, you're going to see that it's not a major overhaul of what we had before. It's really an update to the rubric to reflect the ways that we've been talking about quality over the last year in the LDC national community. And we've also made some changes just to increase the clarity and user friendliness of it as a tool. One of the ways we've done that is by integrating the task and ladder pitfall checklists directly into the rubric. And there's been a few other key changes as well. I'm going to give you the tiniest sneak peek right now. I'm not going to give you a link, but I'm just going to show you a couple of things in this draft version that's very close to being published. The first, as you can see, we've got the updated task pitfall checklist right there on the first page. Moving through the dimensions, we've done a little bit of reordering. We now have content and literacy skills as the first focus of the task rubric. We have tagged some of the work in progress indicators to the pitfalls that they connect to show how those two things support one another. And it goes on from there. So it's really just, like I said, an update to the tool that we've been using to reflect the ways that we've been talking about quality in the LDC community. So that will be available in PDF form very soon. And then it will be active in LDC Core Tools when you go to complete a review, whether that's formative or official through national peer review in Core Tools by mid-June. As we're updating the rubric, we're also updating all of the resources that come along with it. Because any of us who use analytic rubrics, whether it's for student work or teacher work or anything else, know that a lot of the power of the rubric comes from its illustration in the anchor samples that represent each scoring level, and also in the calibration that surrounds the use of the rubric. So we are busily developing a new calibration system that's going to be located right in the Learn tab of Core Tools. So Barb was talking earlier about having everything in one place, and this is a part of that. So after anyone attends a peer review training, they'll be able to unlock that course within the Learn tab and proceed through the calibration process right there in Core Tools. It's going to be really streamlined, a lot simpler, a lot easier to find everything, and also to get some more immediate feedback. So we'll be able to take advantage of the functionalities in our existing courses for the calibration experience as well. Not only will you be able to access and score the calibration modules in that course, I keep putting quotation marks around it because it's not truly a course, but it's an experience in the same format as one of our courses. But there will be some educative exercises that allow you to kind of refresh your knowledge from the training itself before attempting to earn calibration points. The calibration modules themselves will also be updated. So we will have them there scored and annotated to reflect the new criteria of the new curriculum alignment rubric. And again, just to really stay up to date with the ways that we have increased our understanding about what quality looks like in LDC, particularly as we've turned our attention to the idea of focus standards and things being truly driven by standards and authentic as disciplinary literacy assignments. So we're very excited about that. This will also allow flexibility to seek all 4 peer review badges simultaneously or one at a time, depending on what you're ready to tackle after a training. So we do now have both task and ladder reviewer badges at both certified and expert levels. And those are just slightly different levels of nuance. Basically, certified means you're calibrated at the holistic level, and expert means you're calibrated at the dimension level as well. All right, moving on. We are also making some changes to how and when folks can submit for national peer review. So this will take effect this summer. And there will be one annual open call national peer review cycle, during which time anybody in the country can submit tasks and modules for national peer review. That will include one resubmission opportunity after receiving the initial review and feedback. And it's going to be tied to summertime peer review trainings as well. For those people who are engaged in national coach certification or who are using teacher learning kits, there will also be monthly submission windows. So basically there's going to be a rolling opportunity to submit for any of those folks who are going through those learning processes. I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of the calendar for the rest of this year. Our open call is actually already open now, and the date that the submission window closes is June 30th. Anyone submitting to that round of peer review will receive their scores and feedback by August 25th. There'll be an opportunity to resubmit by the end of September and receive that second round of scores and feedback by November. As you can see, for the coach certification candidates and teacher learning kit users, there'll be this monthly cycle where if you submit by the first of any given month, you'll receive your scores and feedback by about 8 weeks later. There might be some slight adjustments based on holidays and calendars and things like that, but it's going to be a regular, predictable, and reliable opportunity to get reviewed by our national peer reviewers. With that in mind, we are also updating a little bit in our community of peer reviewers. So we have always had a wonderful network of volunteer peer reviewers who are trained and calibrated through our system, and we're just taking that up a notch. We are now developing a national faculty of peer reviewers, and these are folks who are dedicated to providing that consistent, rigorous, and supportive review that we try to provide to all module authors through the national peer review process. These folks will have a few additional requirements for training and staying updated and connected with the LDC staff to support their work. It also requires attendance at an advanced peer review training, which takes me to my very next slide. But before I do that, we very much want to invite anybody who's interested in becoming a part of this national faculty to fill out an interest form, and there's a link to that on this slide. And all you have to do is let us know that you're interested, and then we'll share with you a little bit more information about the requirements and the process and all of those details. So I mentioned a moment ago that becoming a part of the national faculty requires attendance at an advanced training, which is something that we've never had before. And so we're really excited this summer to unveil a 2-tier peer review training that we're going to be offering for the first time in Nashville, Tennessee this July, following immediately on the tail of the SREB networking conference. And anybody can sign up for that and choose one of 2 options. We will offer both the standard peer review training, which will use the new curriculum alignment rubric, the updated anchor modules, all of those fresh materials that we've been working to update to learn to apply that rubric, become calibrated, and really think about what quality means in the context of LDC work. The advanced peer review jam will give anybody who has already attended a peer review workshop in the past a chance to get familiar with the new rubric, but then we're going to dig in a little bit deeper to things like giving effective feedback, getting more nuanced in your ability to apply the rubric, and then we're going to dig in and actually do reviews together. So this will be an opportunity that a lot of people have been asking for, to actually come work in a face-to-face setting with consensus partners, to have those rich conversations around module quality, and actually complete reviews for some of those modules that are getting submitted to our open call right now for national peer review. So it's both an updated training opportunity and an opportunity to do the work together in person. So we have a flyer for this training as well as a registration link. We really hope to see you in Nashville, both at the SRB College and Career Readiness Networking Conference, where we have several sessions going on, and then we'll hope that you'll stick around and do a little more work with us on peer review. And that's it for me.
And you know what, folks? These beginning and end of the year meetings are packed. We are changing to Kimba for our last couple minutes because there are some other exciting things that we want to make sure we have in your hands as you are doing summer PD. So Kimba is taking it away.
Kimba, you're muted.
I just unmuted you.
Thank you. I got so excited to start talking. I was saying all these wonderful, glorious things while I was muted. Sorry about that. So really love hearing what's on the horizon, but I get to share with you some things that have already been released and want to bring to your attention. Fantastic partnership between National Board and LDC. So that way you can use the LDC tools and resources to help really enact the core propositions of national board work and think about supporting candidates in that way. There are some courses that have just been released, and it's about differentiating for all students. It'll give you some strategies and questions to help fill out a new optional element for differentiation in a mini task template, as well as a new optional element for reflection on the mini task template. And so there's a link on this slide for you right to the courses, but these are free and open to everyone. So all of your teachers can go to the Learn tab and access these new National Board courses. And in addition to that, we've taken the benchmark mini task collection that Nicole spoke to at the last meeting and taken this National Board template, which helps guide teachers through the questions about differentiation and reflection, especially relevant to component 2 of National Board candidacy, and has taken those benchmark mini tasks, put that template in it, so you could really think about how do you want to measure students' growth over time and ask these questions that relate to the core propositions of National Board. So thank you for letting me share that. I know there's one last little piece about Hamilton in this section, but I'm going to pass that on back to Barb to talk about Hamilton.
My friends, we are almost down to the wire, but one of the things that Kimba said that was so important is that those courses are freely available. One of our commitments with Learn tab, again, is to have free resources like the LDC Basics to get people started, things that are made available through partnerships, as well as licensed content that folks are purchasing or receiving through grants and other ways. That way, we can really provide resources for everyone. Real quickly, what I'd just like to mention to you is a couple in case you missed it. So I'm not going to talk through, but one of the things in addition to all those great National Board resources, if you're looking for perk up for those last couple weeks of school, there are wonderful Hamilton mini tasks. The other thing I want to mention is don't forget that you have the LDC Partner Toolkit with all kinds of things. You can, here on the calendar, click to get to all the community meeting resources in one place. When we look at our ready-to-go resources, if I click on that page, you're going to see constant updates. There's a new evidence of impact document, great to share with administrators. A really nice one-pager that shares LDC's value proposition in a really big way. You know, that this is a blended professional learning where, you know, we're building teacher capacity, not doing things to teachers or treating them in this way. We're really making them partners in reform. When I go here and I look at custom, I'm going to see all kinds of great resources, email, examples, graphics, presentations, talking points that I can download with examples that I can use. So this is a great time to refresh yourself. One of the things we'll do at the SREB conference is do a deep dive into that site and resources for talking about LDC with others. The other thing here is a 2017-2018 calendar that has some important dates on, including meetings for next year. It has a list of all the virtual coach meetings. And the other thing is you're going to see the community meeting being renamed to being called a leadership meeting. The group has really evolved over the years, and we're finding that in many cases, we really need to get principals and central office leaders in, as well as our network of partners and state departments. So we're going to call it a leadership meeting and expand that group a little bit and really heavily focus on the path that we have been this year, but really keep talking about problems of practice and implementation in concrete ways. So the other thing is big new hit, virtual task workshopping, free open call, bring your task, have a maker space with your friends, and help get your task good to go or get good to go to exemplary, 12 months of the year, 2 times a month. What I hope that you could do is your parting shot, 2 minutes over time, I'm pretty big on ending on time here, is to leave us with a little bit of feedback from today. What's one thing that is share worthy? What is one thing you're thinking about that is actionable? And can we help you? So I'd like everybody, before you leave today, I'm not a big fan of ticket out the door, but give me something in that chat. And we hope, and I love this graphic Abby pulled, we hope you have a great summer. We'll be seeing many of you in your states this summer. And anything specific from our team, we're all happy to hear from you. One of the things that I think is really neat is we have some folks here that have a real commitment to national board. Kimba is gone through candidacy and is national board certified, as are some people in the call. She'd be happy to talk more about that with you. Nicole's lens, right now is really thinking about peer review and good examples. And Danielle, we're happy to pull up that Learn tab and talk about that and talk about innovative professional learning at any time. And Abby is the person who can save your day. If something's not working or you can't find it or you need something, that's my first call. So, and me, I'm happy to talk to you about anything. So, again, you can't leave. You cannot sign off unless you put something in this chat, and we hope you have a fabulous, fabulous summer.